Back with us on the Sportsman Zone, it's time for some football action in the English Premier League. Continued on Tuesday with a rescheduled match from round 22 at Turf Moor. 18th placed Burnley hosted 13th placed Leicester City. We have highlights.
Sets of players, there is no room for any form of discrimination in the world of football. Oh, Lennon does brilliant to steal it off Thomas. Enters the area with intent. Basket, far post. Referee's assistant thinks about it, and Cornet is going to have to hold the celebrations as they check it in the VAR room.
There's where he does well, just gets the nutmeg. A little bit trickery here. Oh, that is so close.
Oh, Kasper Schmeichel is very slow to get there, and he almost made Rodriguez the favourite. Now Vardy to Madison, the subs combining. Madison sees the gap! An absolute bullet from Madison.
What a finish. Pope can't do anything about that for once. Struck it beautifully.
Well, the big hitters are back, so much so that Vardy and Madison have come in from the bench. Oh, there is Vardy! Super sub, super scorer. He's back with a bang, he's back with a goal.
Allows him just to go, get the cross in, got to close him down better than that. And he just lets it come onto him, Vardy. He doesn't go and attack it. He comes in with that much pace, he doesn't have to do anything. Just has to be there, stand still, let it hit him on the forehead, and he scores.
Victory complete for Leicester City. It's going to be a try in spring.
Burnley have been resurgent in recent weeks, but they didn't get the 3 points today. The game taken away from them by 2 goals, contrasting finishes. One a header from Jamie Vardy and the other an outstanding strike with the left foot from James Maddison. Now, that match was originally set for January, but was postponed due to COVID cases in Burnley's squad. We're still talking EPL because the general manager of the Professional Game Match Officials Limited, Mike Riley, has apologized to the Everton boss Frank Lampard for the failure of the refereeing team that day to, well, the referee that day to award his team a late penalty against leaders Manchester City on Saturday. This is the incident.
In behind for Richarlison, chance here. Richarlison blocked by Edison. Oh, that was the hand. That was the arm of Rodri. Strong appeals here, and it must be looked at. That looks like an arm of Rodri, and this must be a penalty. He's not given it. They have not given it.
Unbelievable. Well, Everton lost the match 1-0, and Lampard described the decision as incredulous. This is what he said. I've got a 3-year-old daughter at home who could tell you that's a penalty. It's incompetence at best. If it's not that, then someone needs to explain to me what is.
Yeah. Well, an apology. For me, sometimes saying sorry makes no sense, George, because we know Everton, they're 17th in the table. So just saying sorry doesn't really do damage control. And it was very clear, as Lampard said, it was a penalty. So the fact that he would draw on his 3-year-old daughter to say, you know, a lot of nonsense coming from the referees. And, I mean, the fact that the referees, George, would come out and apologize. And based on, you know, Lampard talking about this event, he keeps saying that, you know, he doesn't really blame VAR, you know. He's blaming the referee, and he kept calling his name because he felt as if he should have gone to VAR, and he didn't.
But the problem is this, though, that it's the problem you'll have everywhere in life. If 5 people read a book, if you take 5 people at random, 5 persons, and ask them to read a book, the 5 persons are likely to write a different report from reading the same book. So what I hear when people say there's nothing wrong with VAR, nothing can be wrong with VAR. It's just like saying something is wrong with the sun, which is how do you filter the sun from burning your plants, or do you channel the sun's energy to make solar energy? So there's nothing wrong with the system. But people are at the heart of the system, because without people there's no VAR.
Correct.
Yeah? So the VAR operators, interpretation, that's the problem. It's just like I'm trying to tell people. People who play professional sport, people automatically believe that those people can talk about sport
But
better
they
than
always
those
do that, George.
who can't, who didn't play at their level. And that's rubbish. And you've seen it time and time again.
Because
So
their job is not to talk. Sometimes they have problems articulating.
it's the same
what
point
they want
here.
to.
So the VAR referees, there'd be another refereeing crew on duty at that match, and they'd say penalty. But that crew, advising the referee, did not believe it was of a nature where a clear forearm required the referee to look at it with a view to saying that is a penalty. So it's again down to interpretation. And guess what? You know what? You want the bad news? The bad news is, until thy kingdom comes, you're going to have calls like this, because you're going to have people of dodgy intelligence and even people of reasonable intelligence who are going to interpret things incorrectly, and it is going to cost teams. So prepare yourself for a lot more of this. And those who said when VAR came in that VAR would eliminate these things, I laughed quietly, because I'm saying you all forget that people are at the center of VAR, and as long as people are there, errors like that will be made.
But George, you know, what really stood out for me is the fact that it was a clear and obvious error. So my thing is, you know, you speak about interpreting and whatnot, but isn't there some sort of standard?
Well, it's still interpretation, because, I mean, remember now, it's still the men who are on the VAR, or the women on the VAR, the officials on the VAR, who have to say this is clear and obvious. So it's not as if the handball like that, the ball strikes the hand like that, and a light goes off in the stadium or an alarm goes off. It's someone who has to say, well, that is a clear and obvious thing, which is what they were there for, to tell the referee that, listen, you got this wrong, so forth, so forth. So I'm just saying that it is frustrating, because it's about people. People aren't as clever as we're led to believe, and you could train a man out till thy kingdom come. I don't know, I'm using that phrase so much today. But the point I'm making is this. You are going to get that from people, because people's interpretations of the rule is going to be inconsistent, and quite often that interpretation is going to beggar belief. You're going to wonder if some mad people are sitting at the VAR controls, because to you, what you're seeing, it's obvious what the decision is and you're going to be exasperated. You're going to be left aghast when that decision is not made.
So, you know, seeing that the apology has been issued, George.
Rubbish.
You know,
it's not worth 3 points.
Right.
The man wanted 3 points and an apology.
And that's where I'm going with this. What happens to Everton for the rest of the season?
Well, that could be the 3 points, the difference between them staying up and staying down and going down.
Yeah, and what happens after that?
Nothing. And that's the point. So you coming up and apologizing now. And you know what's funny? Guess what's funny again? This referee, Mike Riley, in his time refereeing, was known to make some harebrained decisions. He was not, well, he was an elite referee, but he was not a good referee at elite level, if that makes sense. So he's in charge of referees now. I have no confidence that the person leading the referees pack in England is worthy of that job, given his own record and his stewardship of a system and a process that is supposed to give players on the field the confidence that at all material times the right decision will be made.
Right. So now that this has happened, do you get the sense that, you know, the refereeing or the level of the referees things would be put in place to improve it, George?
No, because it just comes down to interpretation again. There's nothing wrong with refereeing per se. It's just in those situations when you have the technological aid. In fact, every situation like that, it's an automatic examination of it on the monitor.
And
look at how they had.
Yeah.
And that's the point I'm making. Years ago, you could say, well, the referee doesn't have a monitor to look back at.
And he's human error.
So look, so it's just about the rules, and the referee has people sitting in an air-conditioned room watching the thing on multiple screens who help the referee. So it's again the people. If the people are dunce, it doesn't matter if the system is the best in the world.
Yeah. All right, George. George is extremely upset. We're going to take a quick break. He'll cool down and we'll be right back.